Jaron "Boots" Ennis will finally be a world champion this summer, but it will be via fight rather than knockout, according to his chief handler. Jaron Ennis, a welterweight contender from Philadelphia, became the IBF interim champion after he outpointed Karen Chukadzian last month at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. The win essentially secured Jaron Ennis a shot at the legitimate tit list of the sanctioning organization, Errol Spence Jr., who also holds the WBA and WBC welterweight belts. Dunkin, Jaron Ennis' promoter, says his charge will be elevated to full champion status without having to throw a punch because he believes Errol Spence intends to vacate his belt. Dunkin said, "Boots is the interim champion now. Spence, he's obligated to fight him in 90 days. So, we're gonna fight for the title. And then the question will be, does Spence want to fight? And the answer is, no, he will vacate his belt, and Boots will automatically become champion and will defend our title probably in June." Dunkin added, "I think he's going to 154. I don't think they want Boots at all. At 154, it's perfect for Spence. Spence doesn't really want to make 147 anymore." Errol Spence Jr. will reportedly fight Keith Thurman in a super welterweight bout in the spring without having to give up his titles. The 32-year-old native of DeSoto, Texas, Errol Spence Jr. would then have a full slate of mandatory obligations to fulfill. WBA head Gilberto Mendoza said that Errol Spence would have 60 days upon the Keith Thurman fight to close a deal with WBO champion Terence Crawford for the undisputed welterweight championship. But if that fails to materialize, Errol Spence would then have to fight the winner of the WBA interim contest between Virgil Ortiz and Imantas Stanionis set for April 29, 2023 at College Park Center in Arlington, Texas. Dunkin said he had an encouraging meeting with Showtime Sports head Stephen Espinoza recently on planning Jaron Ennis' next steps, but it was clear from their conversation, according to Dunkin, that Errol Spence would not factor into Jaron Ennis' immediate future. Dunkin said, "When I talked to Espinoza, he said he's giving me a list of opponents and Spence wasn't on it. He said Ennis will defend his title in June. One thing has nothing to do with the other. All I know is that I'm fine with my guy. We got the interim title and anybody who wants to fight for that has to come to us. They got 90 days and we'll push it on them if we have to, but they're not going to come after Boots Ennis."